Hello, America. Welcome to another presentation of Under the Macroscope. Today, I want us to take a look at abortion and other sins. Abortion and other sins. I believe that abortion is wrong because it involves the destruction of human life. Many so-called pro-abortionists claim that it's not a person yet. Really? What is it? Is it a piglet, a puppy, or a kitten? Of course not. When that sperm fertilizes that egg, a chemical reaction takes place that only God can perform, and a human being is created through a man and a woman. Who was God describing when he said, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee"? You find that in Jeremiah 1:5. He was talking to Jeremiah, his prophet. Does that mean that God considered Jeremiah a person before he was formed and born? We are taught, "Thou shalt not kill." You will find that in Exodus 20:13. For those who are looking to the Constitution for, quote, permission to kill their unborn children, you need to talk to God first. The Constitution cannot give you permission to defy God. I don't care how many so-called laws they enact. Those people who sit on the high court, as we call it, who call themselves the Supremes, will one day have to stand before the ultimate judge themselves, and they will give an account to him for the evil that they have done. We need to understand that one cannot legislate morality. It is a person's God-given right to decide whether he or she will do the right thing and what's pleasing in the sight of God. God leaves that decision to do his will to the individual. Please read Deuteronomy 30:19, where God says, "I put before you blessing and cursing. You choose." He has always given us from the very beginning the right to choose. He has already set the standard and warned us concerning the consequences for going against that standard. Whatever God calls sin is sin. There are no exceptions. Colossians 3:25 says, "Whoever does wrong will receive for the wrong that he has done, and there is no respect of persons." You have heard and will continue to hear many express their moral superiority when it comes to certain issues. Yet these same liars will openly display their bigotry when it comes to issues that oppress and suppress other people simply because they are doing things that appeal to a certain crowd of bigots that they love to turn to for political support. You will also hear those who will scream, "Stop trying to, quote, bring God into everything." They also do so to appeal to their support groups. First of all, please understand that God is the one who brought us into existence. Therefore, we are not capable of bringing God into what he has already created. It doesn't make sense to even think so. I get their point. Both of these brainless groups are creeps who sicken me. Such attitudes are the epitome of hypocrisy, and God detests hypocrisy. God really doesn't want to destroy man. We're destroying ourselves. He sent Jesus to help us to get back on track so that we could get back into the right relationship that he wanted when he first created man. Both of these groups appeal to their bases because they want to use other people to put their ignorance out among the nations so that they can test to see who is more ignorant than the other. That's politics. Both of these groups are despicable liars. They have two favorite sins to debate: abortion and homosexuality. One group pretends to hate abortion until their side piece whore tells them she thinks she might be pregnant, and the first thing they say to her is, "You've got to get an abortion." They pretend to hate homosexuality until they think they have solicitation possibilities by toe tapping in the men's room. The other group pretends to love everybody and continues to tell them that whatever they want to do is okay. Everybody's doing it, although the word of God says it is wrong. There is no way that you can love someone as God intended and continue to tell them to ignore the principles that God has established for man. What both of these groups are doing is not new. Just read the Bible, particularly Leviticus 18 and Romans chapter 1. People have been denying God's principles since Adam and Eve were the only two people on the planet. Don't get me wrong, abortion and homosexuality are definitely sins. The word of God says so. But they are not the only sins. Hypocrisy, lying, theft, hatred, oppression, ungodly manipulation, adultery, fornication, all of these are sins as well. This is not philosophical warfare. This is spiritual warfare. And neither the so-called liberals or the so-called conservatives can point a finger at the other person. God loves the sinner, but he hates sin, all sin. Even so, as was pointed out in Deuteronomy 30:19, God has given everyone the right to do whatever one thinks he or she is big and bold enough to do. But beware, there are consequences for our actions. When we think about what God requires of us, it simply comes down to whether or not we want to honor him or please man. But man has no heaven or hell to put anyone in. Do whatever you will or may. Again, that's your right. But what we do not have a right to do is attempt to inflict our choices upon others. If you want an abortion, get it, but don't ask me to pay for it. If you want to alter your gender, don't ask me to pay for it. I believe in your right not to be discriminated against because of your moral choices, and I expect you to respect my right to make my own moral decisions without being labeled as a hater just because I disagree with your choices. If I hated you, I would not be concerned about your soul. We can coexist without friction. Hatred will send both of us to hell. So when you accuse me of hating you because I challenge your moral decisions, think about how much you hate me because I dislike what you do. Just another Mackin observation. Thanks for listening. Follow me on Facebook at Under the Mackroscope. You may also follow me on YouTube at Mac McRae. Please subscribe and share. And if you wish, you can make a contribution of your choosing by using the application on the screen. See you next time. And remember, under the macroscope, we take a closer look.